So video 2 is on dividing decimals, which isn't as challenging as it might initially seem. So we're going to start, I like setting it up instead of with a divide sign, I like setting it up vertically. It just seems to make more sense to me. So you can set it up either way. But the rule for dividing decimals, and this might sound a little strange, but the rule for dividing decimals is never divide by a decimal. Well, how do we not divide by a decimal if our denominator is 0.6? You multiply by 10 over 10, essentially. However many places you need to move the decimal, that's how many zeros you add to the end of your 1. Remember, 10 divided by 10 is 1. So multiplying something by 10 over 10 doesn't change the actual equation that we're starting with. So to multiply by 10, all we do is move the decimal point. So we take the decimal point, move it to the right 1, so that becomes a negative 36. And then in the denominator, we take the decimal point, same thing, move it to the right 1, and that becomes a 6. Well, this question is easy because we have this memorized from our multiplication charts. Negative 36 divided by 6 is negative 6. Another way to divide decimals, although this isn't quite as easy, is to use the number sense of, if I have $3.60, how many times or how many groups of 60 cents would make up that $3.60? And the answer would be 6. All right, taking a look at B, again, using number sense and thinking how many nickels does it take to make $25? That's a lot of nickels. So we're going to follow our rule. I'm going to show you a little shortcut for setting it up as well. So all I do is I look at the denominator and I move the decimal until I have a whole number. How many times did I move the decimal point? Twice. So I need to do the same thing to my numerator. Move the decimal 2 places, or in this case I have to add 2 zeros. So 25 divided by 5 is 5, but I have those 2 extra zeros, so I have 2 extra zeros on my answer. So thinking back to our original question, it would take 500 nickels to make up $25. Last example, of course we have to have a word problem with our decimals as well. A pet store has 2 1/10 meters of space for hamster cages, which are 3/10 meters long each. How many cages can fit on the shelf? So again, turning these into whole numbers, let's say I have 6 meters of space, and each cage is 2 meters long. I'm just making these up. How would we figure out how many cages could we fit on the shelf? Well, we would take the amount of space divided by the space per cage, and we could fit 3 cages. So let's do the same thing with our decimals. We have 2 1/10 meters of space. Each cage requires 3/10 space. So we divide to get the number of cages. Taking the decimal point in the denominator, making it a whole number, I moved it over once. So I moved the decimal over once in the numerator. 21 divided by 3 is 7 cages would fit on the shelf. And there are your U-Try problems. Please show up to class with those prepared to talk to your classmates.